A warm hello to all of you who found your way here to this WTM Center in Germany. My name is Susanne Supper. I'm 61 years old, married and have a daughter. Even as a little girl, the phrase peace on earth, which I heard in church services, was always something very special for me. It touched me deeply and has become my guiding principle over the many years of my life. I grew up in a small, very Catholic, dogmatic village, and at the time, I always had the feeling that I didn't belong there, that I was different and didn't fit in with the image that people generally had of girls growing up in the countryside. At first, however, I actually did conform to this image. My own imprints and family patterns and programming were a powerful motivation. That means I led a completely normal life with professional training. I'm a foreign language secretary in English and French, and later also learned Italian, marriage, and a child. In 2008, I was diagnosed with cancer, which shook me to the core of my being. As I then became very involved with the subject of psychosomatics and psychology, I realized that this illness probably had something to do with the way I dealt with myself, and that I needed to change something in my life and the way I viewed myself. This was the trigger for me to look at many different psychological approaches, to read countless books about psychology and how to recognize myself and my programming, how to develop more and more unconditional love for myself. In my studies and self-studies, I also came to the shadow work of 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐸𝐽. This topic was so magnetic for me that I went in search of my own shadows. I dived deep into myself, and that was so excessively difficult at the beginning because I always had the feeling that somewhere inside me I would eventually find this monster that would show me that I am an evil person that nobody could love. However, I didn't find this monster, but the more I dealt with it, the more I realized that I was simply shaped by so many different patterns, programming and belief systems that made it difficult for me to be at peace with myself and my fellow human beings. That was an incredibly important realization for me that took many years to come to, with many ups and downs, with moments when I literally ran out of strength to continue on this path. And yet, somewhere inside me, there was always the drive not to give up. So I came to the point where I realized that peace on earth starts with me first. And everything that I've worked so hard to achieve over the years, I found and still find confirmed in Jeremy's writings, and thus recognize the overarching meaning of his works. If you are new to Australian biologist Jeremy Griffith's work, I highly recommend the first thing to watch or read is The Interview, which was filmed in English. But there is a version of the video that has been dubbed in German, as well as the written German translation. During the COVID period, life took me by the hand and led me to 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐴𝐻𝐿.com and thus to the WTM Center Australia. I don't remember how it came about. I only know that once I started to deal with the subject of the human condition, I wanted to delve deeper and deeper into the matter, to understand more and more, to recognize the connections of what we can see on our planet today. A deep hope sprouted in me that it might be possible if not in my life, then perhaps in my daughter's life, for people to achieve more and more peace. I found so many affirmations and summaries of my own path in Jeremy's writings, such overarching and profound explanations, that it became increasingly clear to me that I wanted to be involved in this world-spanning project. The Adam Stork analogy in particular was a door opener for me and made me understand that with the emergence of consciousness in us humans, the journey through all the ups and downs of life has begun. And we are now at the point of bringing all the threads together, uniting everything into one big whole, and realizing that we humans are indeed good, compassionate, cooperative, and kind. As far as the current politics in our country are concerned, my husband also finds himself confirmed by Jeremy that left-wing dogmatism is detrimental to us all. Jeremy has even written a separate booklet on this subject entitled Death by Dogma. As a trained foreign language secretary who speaks English quite well, I've also noticed in the past that reading texts in my mother tongue has a different, deeper quality of understanding. And so I looked for the translations section on the 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐚𝐴 website and realized that there were hardly any translations of the many essays, books, FAQs, and brochures. Something inside me motivated me to offer my service as translator. In the last 20 years, I have translated more than 16 books from English into German, at that time without AI. And so my collaboration with WTM Australia began. I was given the name of WTM Center Austria as my German-speaking contact, and the contacts I made with both Australia and Austria were characterized from the outset by an open heart, friendliness and warmth, and all this gave me the feeling that I had finally arrived. In the meantime, I'm proud to announce that we have translated all the FAQs as well as Jeremy's book, Freedom, the End of the Human Condition, into German. And hopefully this will be available on the WTM site in the translations section by the end of the year. The many essays that Jeremy has written over the years will also soon be translated into German. This means that German-speaking people will also have the opportunity to read Jeremy's great work, to which he has dedicated his entire life, and to delve deeper and deeper into the subject matter in order to achieve more and more peace within themselves. Jeremy's achievement is outstanding, his significance for humanity inconceivable, when you consider that he looks at all the major themes of human development and brings them into an overarching framework. I'm very glad that life has led me to Jeremy and his work, and that I can thus contribute my part to a more peaceful world, and I'm thrilled to open this WTM Center in Germany.